Welcome to the Pointy End. I'm Keith Sutherland. Today my guest is Ricki Hersburgh, who is the Manager of Sustainability with UDIA. So welcome to our program.
Thanks, Keith.
Now Ricki, just explain a little bit about UDIA. We know it's Urban Development Institute of Australia, and what your role is there.
Certainly. The Urban Development Institute has been around for coming up to 40 years this year, for Victoria in particular. It is a non-for-profit, membership-based organisation that specifically exists to help the property industry, primarily the developers, in the residential space achieve their goals. So we basically exist to help the developers, and that can be advocacy, policy, and in my space in particular, I do all the work that we are interested in with sustainability, which, as you know, has become a key important feature with the developments that are going on around not just Bendigo, Victoria, but of course around Australia and all over the world.
Yep, and it's a good thing that it is, because even the Popes talk about global warming, so that's a good thing. Now, I noticed in some of the paperwork you talk about Enviro Development. What is that? Is that about products or services? You mentioned that that's part of the UDIA platform, but the Enviro Development, is that part and parcel of what you're trying to get that message out to new and aspiring developers?
Absolutely. So what happened in 2006, and UDIA is a nationally recognised organisation, and we have offices all over in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, WA, etc. And in 2006 there was a demand from within the member base saying, we would really like to do something in best practice. So some of the developers were coming to us and saying, what can we do to show the world that we're trying to make a difference and trying to do things differently? So we actually came up with a assessment tool, and this is it here, called Enviro Development, and it's basically my Bible. It's my green Bible. It's the technical standards, and it goes through what we want the developer to do to show that they've reached their goals and best practice. So ideally what we do, it's a voluntary take-up, and since 2006 we're actually coming up to our 100th property that we're going to be certifying, which we're very excited about, and it can be in any space. So it could be master plan community to industrial retail, it can be anything really. But ideally and initially it started for the greenfield space and residential subdivisions, and as we've expanded and there's more and more demand from the developers because they can see the benefits of this, it's not just a product, it's also offering a service to them because it helps them in many ways. And ultimately the bottom line is that the consumer, when they go to look for in the sales display offices, like for example Evergreen Waters is one of the developments we've had here in Bendigo, which is a Simmons product. They actually were the first one to do Enviro Development in Bendigo. People can actually then, as part of the product and service, is that the consumer gets to have a much better development because it's got sustainable initiatives in it.
You said that there's about 100 subdivisions now that are on board with this. It's probably not a lot, and in this day and age where the federal government doesn't seem to be talking too much about the environment, there doesn't seem to be a lot of encouragement. But what about subdividers themselves? You said that they are now starting to embrace it, because without the subdividers, you've got to start somewhere. Local governments seem to be embracing it fairly well, and the subdividers, because there are increased costs in providing environment and sustainability products to the subdivisions. But are they starting to really understand the benefits? It's not just about their subdivision. I know the public are becoming more and more aware of trying to save our planet. But are the developers looking at the extra cost and thinking, oh no, maybe I shouldn't be doing it? Or are they starting to think, yeah, this is what we have to be because we want to be good corporate citizens?
Really good question. I'll tackle that in two parts for you. The developers realise that to be ahead of the game, so to speak, that they need to be doing something different, and they need to be showing that they are trying to make a difference and trying to do something differently to their neighbour across the road who might be doing the same product. So from a commercial point of view, and we all know that developers, like anyone that runs a business, want to make a buck. Anybody in business wants to be able to do, so it's about marketing, and if they are interested in marketing their product that they've got, Enviro Development offers a platform for them to do something differently. But the ultimate benefit about it, and the developers are understanding and getting it now, is that not only is it helping them with their business, but the best thing about it all is that it's helping the environment. That goes hand in hand with the consumer who says, oh, I'd really like to live in a sustainable development. It's being taken up. Local council, government are embracing it. They're very enthusiastic about us having this product, which is a voluntary take-up, and it's independently accredited. It's done all transparent procedure with boards going through and doing the certification assessment. But it is something that I think, which is one of the reasons why I'm so pleased to be here today, it's been too well kept a secret. So many people don't know that they can actually go and look for a development with this logo and say, I know what that is. It means that there's 6 elements there where I'm going to be getting all these initiatives included in my development, and it's great not just for the environment, but it's great for us and the kids and long term. So I think I've answered that question for you. Yeah.
Bring it back to Bendigo, because you said Evergreen Waters is one, and there's a lot of subdivisions going on. Bendigo's been boom time for a long time, and it's going to continue because it seems to be the flavour of the month, and well, why not? Because it's a great place. But having seen that sign, and as you said, you've got to get the message out. And talking to us on programs like this, you can get the message out there. And I go to all the UDIA conferences and seminars in Bendigo, and there's some fabulous work. But by and large, are they other developers really getting involved? Because you've got Damien Tanguy, that's the chair of the local chapter of the UDIA, and others, they all attend there, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of others that are sort of adopting these new benefits for our community and making it environmental friendly and sustainability, and that's really just not a catch cry anymore. That's a reality of where we should be heading.
Totally agree. There has been for many years the sense from developers that doing something like this is going to cost them more money, and that's been one of the biggest pushbacks I think we had when we first started in 2006. The reality now, though, is that with some of the requirements that we put into the assessment tool, it actually can save them money. And I'll give you a really classic, small, tiny example. So for fixtures and fittings in someone's house, the shower head that they use, if that shower head is a slightly smaller shower head and it reduces the flow rate of the water by a couple of litres, so if someone has a standard shower is about 3 to 5 minutes. Some people a lot longer, but on average, we hope people will only have a shower for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, the flow rate, if your shower head is a slightly smaller shower head and only allows 5 litres of water instead of 7 litres of water per minute, that 2 litres of water is saving, obviously, the consumer money, but that actual shower head, that product, is cheaper to buy than the normal one. So the developer who then, gets the builders to come in and do the building, are actually helping them save money because that shower head the cost unit is less. So it's getting the message out to not just the land developer, but also the builders that are, obviously go out to tender and that they're asked would they like to come and build at this subdivision, so forth, that they actually are saving money by doing this. We try and encourage using the vegetation. So if they have to, sadly, if there's a case where they have to chop down a tree, that they keep that tree, it's chipped on site with a chipping machine, and that is used then as for the landscaping to stay on the property. So we try and get the developer to think about this as a whole. It's like a circle of what they're doing, the circle of life. So they can save a lot of money if they want to, by actually embracing what we are offering them here. So we give them a lot of ideas. We give them things to think about that they mightn't have thought about in the beginning when they start the development. So that's why, for us, the essence of this, the key to Enviro Development Assessment is doing it really early on. So we like to talk to a developer even before council knows that the developer's thinking about doing something. You might have a spare 10 acres sitting out the back somewhere and you're thinking, I wonder if I'd like to do something there. And then it'd be great to talk to me ahead of time and you can already be thinking about what could I do. But it's not just land developers, it's also trying to get the message out to the builders that this is a good thing for you to be doing, and you're offering not just a house, but there's a land house package that's coming out there that's really a win-win for everybody.
So it's realistically a holistic approach to building these days. With the Enviro Development property, some of the things that you've just mentioned, but is there enough new technology coming through with this? Because we've noticed over the last probably 2 years, there's been a lack of money going to science, so there's not new products being looked at. And as I said before, I'm probably being a little critical of the Abbott government, and I think I should, because science is something for the future, our environment is something for the future, and there seems to be a lot of angst about whether direct action as opposed to a carbon price is the way to go, but I won't get on that side of it. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot of money going to science, so we're not getting new products, or are we getting new products to feed this new market that we should be getting, because that's the future, and we should be looking and embracing these sorts of new products for building.
That's true, and I totally agree with you. You know, there should be a lot more innovation out there and encouragement for us to get new products and services. The assessment tool every 2 years, because we are raising the bar with what minimum standards, requirements from council, etc., ask of the developer. So every 2 years we update our assessment tool, and we're always looking, and we do a lot of research ourselves, going out there, speaking, looking, reading, finding out what new products are coming up. Solar, as you know, has made some great inroads. There's been some terrific new inventions and concepts with the actual battery life, and because a lot of people that are off the grid completely, there was a lot of concern, I think, from people that, if we're off the grid completely, what are we going to do about battery life with our solar? So there has been definitely some big improvements with that. Wind farm, obviously, there's quite a lot with wind energy that's coming up, and I think watch that space. There's going to be some good stuff coming out there.
I hope you're right, because Joe and the Prime Minister both don't like wind towers.
Exactly.
For energy generation, which is a bit sad, because right through Europe and right in this country, why shouldn't we be doing it if we're going to save the planet and get rid of some greenhouse gases?
Absolutely, but there's definitely some things in the wind, pardon the pun, coming up there. But also in landscaping and what we do with materials. And one of our elements, so there's 6 elements, I'll just quickly mention to you for Enviro Development. A developer has to achieve at least 4 out of our 6 elements. The elements are waste and materials, water, energy, and ecosystems and community, and each one of those draws down to a whole area of detail that they have to tick off the box to say we've achieved that. In the materials and waste section, we're finding, particularly materials, there's a lot of innovation that we're finding from the construction with the civil work and civil roads work that they're doing. There's quite a lot of innovation coming out with what they're using for the actual road, so the recycled content, asphalt, hot mixes, all those sorts of things. There's quite a bit of interest there of what we're doing with the chemical compounds mixing together to make the same thing, but we're using more recycled content. Now, in the past, that hasn't been very welcomed from council, etc., but it is now. They're starting to really say, yeah, this is just as good. If we have 95% of the product that we're using for those roads on the developments is made from recycled content, that is an innovation in itself, because it never used to be like that. Also with water sensitive urban design, what we're doing with piping, what's been made with the pipes, how that's been delivered. So there is innovation coming. It is slow. I wish it would be much faster. We are always looking for new information so that we can actually raise the bar for the developer, because when they look at these standards, we're pushing it by 20% above what is required across the board. And that's quite a lot, 20% more than what they need to do. So every 2 years we go around Australia. We have task force, 170 last time, all looking at these standards and saying, okay, what can we do to make it harder? But we don't want to make it too hard.
No.
We don't want to chase people away from the opportunity. It is a great opportunity to make small steps, and that's the important thing. It's not hard, it's just going through the process. It's like doing a tax return. It's an environmental return.
Well, Ricki, thank you for appearing on the Pointy End today. It's been great, because I met you about 10 years ago with the recovery of the Colaban River. Greening,
That's right.
We had a great fundraiser. You're very passionate about this, and it's great to think that you're coming to help our developers in Bendigo, not just Bendigo, but right across Victoria. So it's great to have you on board. It's a passion that I think we've all got to try and save the planet and environment, and the sustainability of our some of these products is fantastic. So thank you for appearing on the Pointy End today. Keep up the good work as your role of Sustainability Manager with the UDIA. And I really do appreciate you coming on the program today.
Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate it too.
Thank you.